Hello, welcome everyone to Data Analysis Scholarship course. Today we'll be looking at data modeling, Power Pivot and DAX. Data modeling with Power Pivot and DAX. This is one of our sections in the ongoing Data Analysis Scholarship course for Cohort 1. Today we are going to be diving deep into Power Pivot, using it to create models, to create relationship, and then do some advanced DAX. That's data analysis expression. That's the meaning of DAX, data analysis expression. And today we are going to be starting from scratch, whether you're a beginner, whether you are one who wants to sharpen his or her skills as regards to data analysis, Power Pivot, and DAX. We are going to be learning all that this morning. Learning going from introduction to data modeling, what's data modeling in Excel, to building relationships with Power Pivot, and then writing and applying DAX functions for more insight and analysis. And then we are going to be doing all that using a practical data set that we have already developed for this section this morning. If you are new to Excel, if you are already an Excel user, this section, I believe, we give you a deeper insight and prepare you to launch powerfully into the data analysis world. That is what we are going to do this morning. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see my screen. If you are just joining us, hit the like button, and then also remember to, if you are with me in scholarship cohort 1, please go to the scholarship group and let them know we are live. Let them know we are live, and as well let me know if you can hear me, if you can see my screen. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see my screen. Much appreciated. Let's, as our tradition is, your name, your scholarship ID. This is only for cohort 1. Your name, your scholarship ID. Also go to the scholarship group. Let everyone know that we are live in this section this morning. Let everyone know we are live. Let everyone know we are live. Let me know also if you can hear me, if you can see my screen. Much appreciated. Alright, thank you Amina for that feedback. And let's go to the scholarship group. Tag everyone, let them know we are live. Tag everyone and let them know we are live. Also, as our tradition is, your name and your scholarship ID if you are part of the cohort 1. Let's do that right away. If you are part of cohort 1, let's do that so that we can quickly commence. All right, Sharif, good to have you on this live. If you have done that, remember to hit the like button on this live session. That very much appreciated, very important. Let's remember to do that, and let's head over to the scholarship group cohort 1. Let them know we are on for this morning section. Let them know we are on for this morning section. We are going to be looking at Power Pivot and DAX. All right. While we do that, let's get to understand. Welcome once again to the data analysis course. Today we are looking at Excel, Power Pivot and DAX. DAX simply means data analysis expression. This is a part of our course in data analysis scholarship, Excel, Power Pivot and DAX, brought to you by Solomon Institute of Tech and Management. I'm your facilitator, Mr. Franklin. I'm a seasoned data analyst and a management consultant. We are going to move quickly straight into our Excel spreadsheet to begin the journey this month. All right, let me know what you can see right there on your screen. If you are with me here, kindly let me know what you can see right there on your screen. What can you see? So that we know we're on the same page. So that I will be certain that we are all on the same page. Let me know what you can see right there on your screen. Let me know what you can see on your screen so that we'll be sure we're on the same page. I need us to inform me what can you see right on your screen so that I will be sure that we are all on the same page. I'm waiting for us to confirm what we can see right there on our screen. Thank you, Abolaji. Sales reports. Okay. Beautiful. So here, what is data modeling? When we talk about data modeling, what do we mean by data modeling? Data modeling is all about relating tables together. It's all about bringing different tables together, creating a relationship in Microsoft Excel. That is what it's all about. To link tables, like we have these tables in this our Excel workbook. We have sales, we have customers, we have product, we have region, we have date. All these tables can be linked together. Now, if we can link them together, then we cannot perform analysis. We cannot run analysis combining the tables together. If we are to do that, we are going to be writing complex formulas. We are going to be writing complex functions that that at the end of the day, we might make mistake, we might get confused. So data modeling is a way in which we simplify our data sets, simplify our analysis, link the tables together, multiple tables together, and then get insight from the tables at once. Now, how do I mean? For example, if I'm to create a pivot table from this data set, I can pivot table if I go to insert and go to create, and here you see from tables / range. If I'm to create a pivot table from this, okay, let me go ahead and do that. Already it dictates the stuff we have, the range, and to a new sheet, and then I can now say okay. Now once that is done, you will notice that in this pivot table, it is only for this particular data, for these sales. It doesn't combine customer, it doesn't combine product, regions, date. It only creates a pivot table for this particular sales data. However, what if we want to get insight? We want to get insight from both of these tables at once. What do we need to do? That is where data modeling comes to play. That is where we make use of data modeling. Now, in data modeling, we just only what we do is to relate the tables together via data modeling to relate the tables together. And to do that in Excel is what we use to do that is Power Pivot. To relate the tables together, in other words, to combine these tables together, we use Power Pivot so that we can analyze these multiple tables at once. But if we don't do that, we are going to analyze them separately, do separate analysis, or write complex functions and formulas in order to put these tables together and then run analysis on it. And to do that, we are going to take much time. It takes brain work and all that in order to achieve. So data modeling gives us that leverage in order to do it with ease. And to achieve that, we need to activate Power Pivot on our Excel. In our Excel, we need to activate Power Pivot. Now, if you are working with me and you don't have access or you don't see this tab on your Excel, this Power Pivot tab on your Excel, simply you can activate it. How do you activate it? If you are using, I think, Office 2013, 16 or thereabouts, I think 16, 19, you can activate Power Pivot. Okay, now to do that, head over to your file. When you get to your file, you go to Options, you click on Options, this new dialog box shows up. You come down to, you see General Formula, Data Proofing, and so on. On to Add-ins. You click on Add-ins. Now, when you click on Add-ins, you see these are active add-ins. You see for my own, Power Pivot is active. That's Microsoft Power Pivot Excel is active. Analysis 2-pack is active. I have shown us how to bring in Analysis 2-pack. Now, if it's not active on your own, the Power Pivot will be part of this inactive add-ins. It will be here. So what do? You notice that it's a com add-ins. So you go to this Manage. Now under Manage, you click this drop-down arrow and select the com add-ins. Now once you select the com add-ins, you click Go. So once you click Go, it brings you to the com add-ins. Your own will be like this. If you haven't activated it already, it will be like this. Then you click on, you check this box by clicking on it. You check the box by clicking on it. If you need the Excel Power Map, you click on the Excel Power Map as well. That is your choice. Then you go to OK. Now once you click OK and get back to your Excel, you will see your Power Pivot tab. That is how to activate your Power Pivot. Now, activating your Power Pivot is such that we can link tables together, run analysis, write some DAX calculations, and so on. Now, another powerful feature of Power Pivot is that it eliminates Excel's deficiency. What is one of the Excel's deficiency is that Excel spreadsheet, this spreadsheet is limited. How? Because it has a maximum of 1 million something rows. Now, when you are working with data that is over 1.1 million, over the highest rows of Excel, you can bring in that data into Power Pivot, not into Excel. You have that data in CSV files, in text file, you are getting it from a database and other. You can bring it directly into Power Pivot. And when you bring it into Power Pivot, you can run the analysis on it. So Power Pivot becomes a more powerful Excel engine for data analysis. If you want to analyze your data in Excel and you discover that that data set is the data is a large data set that is over 1 million rows that normal Excel sheet cannot contain it, what do? You put that data into Power Pivot, and then from Power Pivot, run your analysis, perform your DAX calculations, get your measures, get your KPIs, you can load it to pivot tables, analyze your data, visualize it. That's why Power Pivot is a more powerful Excel engine for data analysis. So those of us, when you work with large data sets that is more than what normal Excel spreadsheet can contain, Power Pivot becomes a helping hand. All right, now having established that, having given us the benefits, what Power Pivot can help us to achieve, it can do a lot of stuff for us. Let's begin to add this data to our data model. Let's add it to models. Let's add this data to models. There are different ways you can do that. You can close this particular workbook, open a fresh Excel and do that. But since we have our data set and we have it, we have it in Excel workbooks, all our data sets are in one Excel workbook. But in a situation where you have your sales data in a separate workbook, in a folder, customer in a separate workbook, in a folder, then you can make use of what I'm about to show us. All right. Now, when you go to Power Pivot, to add data from other sources, to get your data set from other sources, you go to Manage. You click on Manage. So once you click on Manage, the Power Pivot window will load. It's a separate window from what is a separate window from Excel. That's why it's an engine, Excel database engine. It helps Excel to run powerful analysis that a normal Excel spreadsheet might not be able to do. So in this, you see, this is our Power Pivot for Excel. Data modeling does this because is from the data modeling. Now, when you want to get data, this, let's maximize this. You see that under this get external data, you have from database. If you can get from SQL Server, you can get from Microsoft Access, from analysis service or Power Pivot. These are the database you can get. Also, you can get from data service or all these data service you can get from other sources. So let's say you are getting your data from Microsoft Server, SQL Server, you can get from that's Excel file part. You go to browse. Now on browse, you now locate the data. You locate that data which you want to bring in. That, let's say this is the data. You click on this and then you say open. When you go to open and you move to next, it will not go. Why? Because the data is already before you import. So this is when you haven't opened that workbook, you haven't opened the data set. Let's say this workbook contains sales report, another workbook customer, another workbook region and all that. So we can put them into Power Pivot one after the other from going to other sources. Now I'm going to cancel this. However, since our data are in the same, since we have our data in the same workbook, let me close this and then come directly to this. Now, since these are in the same, sales is here, customer is here, product is here, and all that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click anywhere here, anywhere in between, anywhere within this data range, and go to say add to data model. Now, I need to establish this. When you are working with data model, Excel only add a table to a model, not a range. This is a data range. So what you will notice is before it's been added to data model, that it will be converted to a table first before being added to data model. So when we say add to data model, you will see that Excel automatically dictates the range of data, and then you see this, my table has headers, which are these sales ID, date, product, down to total sales. Then we say, okay, these are tentative data generated. So that's for this course. When we say, okay, now you see what happens. This already is been added to Power Pivot, and the name is table 1. The name here is table 1. Why? Let's go to our data set. This table is, see the name here, table 1. That's the name here. So if we rename this and call it sales, hit enter. Let's get to our model now, and let's refresh. Okay, I think I haven't saved that there. Or you can also rename here. When you double click on it, the same way we rename our sheets, we can do that. So that is sales. Then the next is to customers. Now, because of that, we are going to, let me zoom in a bit so that we see the headings. I'm going to convert this to a table by pressing Ctrl T, or say format as table. Either way, if I press Ctrl T, it gives me this, my table has headers. I say okay, and then let me use this, come over to this and call it customers. Hit enter. So this table name is now known to be customer. If I go to my Power Pivot and then add to model, automatically you see the name comes, the name of the table comes straight with it. That's customers table. All right. Then the next we are going to do is, let's do the same for products. In this I'm going to say Ctrl T, then say okay. Let me select this, go to the table, change the name to products. Hit enter, that becomes the name of the table. Let me head to Power Pivot, add to model. Now we have our products added to the model in Power Pivot. All right, now the next is to do that for the region. We come here and we press Ctrl T. Then we say, okay, our table have headers. Let's select this, come here, call it region. Okay, hit enter, and then go to our Power Pivot and say add to model. That is being added. We do that for dates. Come here, Ctrl T. My table has headers, of course, and then let me select this one and call it dates. Hit enter and go over to add it to model, to data model. Now, as we can see, we have pulled all our data. We can pull all our data into the Power Pivot data model so that we can link it together. Emmanuel, increase the quality of your video. Go there or go to settings on YouTube and increase the quality of your video. You can, that way you will see it very clearly. Now, having pulled this data set, these tables into our data model, the next thing we are going to do is to create a relationship. Using these tables. And to create that relationship, I'm going to explain what we call primary key. I'm going to explain what we call primary key in data modeling and secondary key. Primary key and foreign key rather, not secondary. Primary key and foreign key in data modeling. In data modeling, be it in a database, be it in Access, SQL, SQL, and as model like this to establish a relationship, it works. We make use of primary key and foreign key, mostly in relational database. And here we are creating a relationship, a relational model. And to create that relational model, we need to have what we call primary key. And what's a primary key? A primary key is what we refer to as a unique identifier. A unique identifier, what that simply means is that when we come to this primary, for this sales table, what we can uniquely or what we can identify each sales with, a certain data that no data range has the same data points or the same entry. In other words, a unique identifier. For example, when we talk about primary key, I always explain it this way. In primary key, if you go to bank, in the bank you are using, your account number, your bank account number becomes your primary key. Why? Because in that bank, it's only you that has that account number. Only you has that account number in that bank. So to you or to a data analyst, to the banks, that account number becomes your primary key. Why? Because that can only be traced to you. That number is only uniquely traced to you. That's why when you get to banks and you render a complaint, they ask you what's your account number. They are not interested. They are not going to ask you what's your name and that. Why? Because once they get the account number, they will be able to trace the owner of the account. Whether you are truly the owner of the account, the same way in your network. Let's say you have a complaint to MTN, to Globalcom, to Etisalat, and all the rest. And you call the network first, they will ask you what's the number you are calling with. Are you calling with the affected number, or you tell them the number that is being affected? Why? Because in that telecommunication company, that number is only uniquely traced to the owner. That number is only uniquely traced to the owner. So that is primary key. A primary key is a column in this set that has unique numbers. In other words, no repetition. If you can look at this place date, there are some dates that are repeated. There are some dates here that are repeated. You look at these products, there are products here that are repeated. Customers ID are repeated, but the sales ID, when you look at it, the ID, I purposely number it from 1 down, 1, 2, 3 down. So there is no repetition. So there is no duplicates. And in that way, this becomes our primary key. Then when we get to customer table, in our customer table, this can only be traced to one customer ID. The customer ID here is the primary key for this particular customer table, because the ID is to each customer. We assign a particular ID to a particular customer. No customer have the same customer ID. So the customer ID here becomes a primary key. I hope you are getting what I'm explaining here. Here, customers can have seen the same age. We can have a customer that have the same age, like you can see here, 28. But here, those customers cannot have the same customer ID. They can join us the same date, but they can't have the same customer ID. they can come from the same region, but they can't have the same customer ID. So customer ID to our customers table becomes the primary key. All right, the same way in the product ID here, let me zoom in a bit. So the product ID here becomes the primary key. So each product has an ID. They can be the same category, but each product has an ID. All right, then we go to region. We have region ID as well. We come to dates. We have that dates as well. I need to format this as dates. I need to format it as dates. Let me go to home and select short dates. All right. These dates are unique. So we see that primary key are unique IDs. Now, or unique data row. Now, foreign key is we call it a foreign key when this is primary in another table. For example, this customer ID in customer table is primary key. Now in sales table is a foreign key. When a primary key in another table is present in another table, that particular ID, that particular stuff becomes a foreign key. For example, customer ID is a primary key in customer's table. However, is present in sales table, which is this. In this particular table is a foreign key. I know why I'm taking my time to explain this concept, because we are going to use it to establish a model, to establish a relationship. We are going to use this concept to establish a relationship. And in most cases, that relationship will be one-to-many relationship. In other words, one customer here can buy as many times as possible, can have as many sales. We can sell to that customer as many times as possible. So one customer here to many sales. That's what we refer to as one-to-many relationship. One customer can buy as much as possible. One product, we can sell one product as many times as possible. That's why product ID here is also a foreign key. Product ID here is also a foreign key. Date here is a foreign key. Date here is a foreign key because we have a unique date in this table. Now, some persons might ask, okay, is primary key always the first column? It's not a must. I can choose to have sales ID in the middle. I can choose to have it at the center. But you need to understand your data set and know that column header that has a unique entry. That or the one that is your primary key, unique identifier, that uniquely identify the records in this table. Now, having explained that, let's go back to our model. Now, having explained all that, we are going to use that concept to create our relationship. So back to our data modeling, to our pivot table. Under home, we are in the data view. You can see this is active. This is active. We are in the data view. So we now need to switch to diagram view. Now I will click the diagram view. So we are here in the diagram view. Let me just bring this down a bit. This we can also bring it down. Click this, move it to this place. Okay, this doesn't need to be open more. And then let's pull it here. I want to bring all the tables to be on one window where I can see them. Okay, now we have them here. I can drag this down a bit. All right, now these are the 5 tables. So to link them together, we can look at sales here, and this is my primary key. In this table, this is my primary key, and in this table is a foreign key. So I'm going to link both of them together. So what do? I click on this, hold and drag. You see that, and take it to this, and release my cursor. Okay, it's telling me that it contains blanks. So that means there might be a blank stuff and all that. So that makes the relationship not to work. So this is also one of the things that we need to also do to ensure that we leave no stone unturned. So if we go back to, let's say we go back to our, let's go back to our data. In this, let's look at the customer ID. There's no blank here. Also, let's look at this. Okay, you can see there is blanks here, so we remove it and then we say okay. Now that way is done. We right click and let's save. Let's get back to our model and let's refresh and see if that will be settled. Refreshed, okay. Now let's go back to diagram view and then do that again. That is not taken care of. Let me go to data view. Let me delete this model. And then let me add it again. I have removed the blank here. So we have, there is no blanks. All right. So let me go to this add to model, and the customer is here. The customer is on this. So, and I believe no blanks on it. So let's go back to this. Let's bring our customer back, the customer table. Now let's move this to this. Why is it giving me this challenge? That blank stuff, why? Now this challenge we have now is why we ought to, okay, what I will do to this now is I'm going to clean it up. Let me take it to Power Query. Let me go to inserts, and then let me go to the data rather, and then from table/range, from table/range. So these are challenges we have when you get data from any source. Is first you clean it up. I thought that blanks is not there. to clean it up. So when you get any data, please try to clean it up. So this, we have every other thing is okay by us. We can come here, remove this knob, remove the knob, and let's go down and see if there is a blank, no blank. Okay, we say okay. All right, we have removed that knob. Every other thing is okay. Every other thing remains good. Every other thing remains good for us. And let me come to this data model. Let me remove this. Let me delete this customer. So once we have done that, we have removed that column, blank column, whatever. Then the next we do is we come over to this place, click the drop down. Instead of close and load, we say close and load to. Then load to what? We are loading it to a data model. This table, new work, we are loading it to a data model, new worksheet, and that. So this table, we are loading it to a data model. We say okay. Now we have created customer 2 and is already bringing in that particular table. This is the cleaned table which contains 100 rows. Now let's now this is being loaded to our data model. Is a bit hanging. Okay, now we have the cleaned one loaded here. So let's head over to our diagram view, and I think I have deleted this before. Which one is this? I think okay, let me do this from the start. Go to Power, add to model, already there. Okay, then this. All right, let me delete all of them. Okay, this is the one that is created by query, so I will leave it. This is okay, this is okay, this is okay, this is okay. Okay, let's look at the diagram view. All right, I think I'm good to go with this. If this table is the one that is created by query, so if I click on this and drag it to this place, we can now see that the relationship is being created. we have been able to create the relationship because we have removed that particular blank row. Because remember, I told us earlier, when we are doing Power Query, you don't run analysis on blanks and null values. So we need to filter it out. I didn't know that that is present in that data. So we have been able to link this to this. And if you notice, you will see that there is one here and there is asterisk. This is showing us one customer here to as many sales as possible in this particular table. So it's a relationship we call one to many. And let's take, for example, you created the relationship and you discover that, okay, this is not the one I needed to create. It's not with this table or with this data set. You click on this line. You just come to click on the line. Just click on this line. What is happening to my keyboard? Okay, now let's proceed. I don't know what's happening now to my keyboard, but when you click on the line, if you are working with me, it will select the line. So once you select the line, right click on it, you can delete. Once you delete it, it's gone. Okay, then the next one is to link this to product. This is primary key, this is foreign key. We click. We click on this and drag to product. So that relationship is created, and we have one to many as well. In this, for this region, we can link this to customers. We can link it to customers. So this is primary key here, regional ID, region ID is foreign key here. So we can drag this to this. And it creates it one to many. One region can appear, one customer can come from, more than one customer can come from the same region. So one region can have as many customers as possible. That's one to many. So then lastly, date. This is primary key and this is secondary. Then the date data set we drag to this, and then we created a relationship. We have just created a relationship within these tables. So these tables are now linked together. I can pull off data from here, pull off data from here, pull out data from here, and all appear on the same spreadsheet. So having created this relationship, we can now begin to do some analysis, perform some analytical expressions, write some analysis, add some insights to our data sets, and so on and so forth. Now, starting here, I can add column to this. We have total sales, we have unit price, we have quantity. Now, let's say I want to add a column called total cost. We have total sales, which is this times this. That's what gives us this. This times this, what gives us this. So now we need to add a total cost so that we can go through and get our profit. As well. So to do that, I can come here, double click, type in total costs. Hit enter, Now, once that is done, we have a column called total cost, and in this column, we are going to do some DAX, perform some data analysis expression. So to do that, I'm going to come over to the formula bar. You will see that automatically it has equal sign. Whatever we are doing, analysis, transformation, remember the almighty rule has to begin with an equality sign. So to do the cost, to bring in the total cost, we are going to use a function called SUMX. This function here, we are going to use this function, double click on it. What are we looking for? What are we looking for? Total costs. Or we are looking for sales. Comma. Then we no. Am I mistaken? Total cost should be okay. Total cost should be quantity times total quantity. Total cost is quantity times the cost price. So this we click on this. We click on this. That's equals to this times shift 8 multiplied. Now, where our total cost is in the product table. Now, follow me, please. Our product cost, the cost price per product, is in the product table. So to pull it out from the product table, remember we have linked this table together. We have performed a relationship. So we are going to bring in a DAX function called related. So we come here and double click related. Now from this related, which product we are looking at, a product, I type P. Now in that P, it brings me product category, product cost, price per unit. That's what we are looking for. Then I will double click here. That is to give me my total cost. And then I hit enter. Now automatically it brings in the total cost. Automatically brings in the total cost. Why? If we go to the product table, you see cost per unit. Each product by their unit. So here the total cost will now be the product times the quantity sold. So that's here is 1, but here is 2, is 3 rather. And the cost price is 200 as we as product P006. Now P006 you can see is 200. So that way we have brought in our total costs. Now having done that, the next we can also do is to add our profit. So here I can put profit. Hit enter. Now we have created a column for profit, and then we go to our formula bar and activate it. Now what is profit? Profit is simple, revenue minus cost. Total sales minus total cost. So what do? I click on this. That's total sales. Then minus total cost. I click on this. That becomes our profit. So if I hit enter, automatically it gives me the profit generated. So here I'm making a profit of 150. So we can assign currency to it, small formats. Let's say we are using this. We have this. We can also normal Excel remove this. We can reduce the the what do we call it, the decimals, and remove them. Here as well, we can assign the currency because they are money. We can remove this, the same to this, our choice. Let's do this. Then finally this. That's we can remove the decimals. Okay. Now we have done some analysis to add total cost. We have seen our total cost. We have seen our profit generated by each sales. Now it's time to add some measures. Now let's take for example, let's say we want to know our total revenue. We want to know our total profit. We want to know the total number of sales we have and all that. How are we going to calculate it? Our total number, total customers, total quantity sold, total sales, total revenue, total profit. That's what we call in data analysis measures. In data modeling, we refer to it as measures. Now, to calculate some measures, I use this pattern to do that. Now let's take for example, I want my measure to be here. I click this place. I click on this place, go to formula, and say equals to. Now to calculate total sales, or what we can call our total revenue, we use a function called sum. The same sum function in Excel. Normal Excel is also the same here. I click on it, double click here. What are we summing? We are summing total sales. See it here, total sales. That becomes our total revenue, total sales. So what is it? It's on the sales table. The total sales is on sales table. So I can type X to take me to the sales table. So here is, see what I'm looking for, sales. This sales means is sales table, and the column I'm looking for is the column of total sales. So once I double click here, it brings this up, and then I hit enter. So I have gotten my first measure. Let me increase this. I have gotten my first measure. So this measure, I can rename it by coming to this place and then delete measure 1 and put stuff like total revenue. So let's say I call it total revenue, and then hit enter. So that's automatically changed. So my total revenue is this, and then there I can apply a comma separator, or I can apply the currency formatting. So once I apply the currency formatting, let me increase it more. It shows me our total revenue is 1 million something. So that is our total revenue. Then here I can also decide to know our total profit. I can decide to know our total profit. I click here, come over to this place and say equals to. Now one of the things you might say, like, I can do all this in Excel, in my normal spreadsheet Excel. Yes, you can do it, but remember, these are now linked together, and with the linking, we perform further analysis. And also, another thing that this gives us ability is that in this particular aspect, if your data is more than 1 million, that Excel cannot normally edit in Power Pivot and do this analysis, get these insights from your data set, and then load it to Power Pivot as well, load it to pivot table as well, and off you go. Run your analysis, visualize it, and off you go. All right. Now, to get the total profit, we put here equals to the same. We are going to make use of the same function, which we call sum. double click here. The profit is in the sales table, so I type S so as to take me that to the place. This is this. So we are seeing this sales profit. So I will double click on it and then hit enter. Now it gives me the total profit. Then here I can also come here to remove this measure 1 and then type in total profits. Okay, now hit enter. That becomes my second measure. Now another measure that I can do is distinct counts. Now is a dash one of the data analysis expression. Let's say I want to count the total number of customers. My total number of customers, I want to count them to know how many customers that I have based on my record. I want to count to know the number of customers I have. I can use this aspect to do that. However, I can also calculate my measures by going to my Excel here and then come to these measures. But normally when I do my analysis pivot, I mostly use what do we call it? I mostly use in measure aspect. I don't come to my data, exact data again. But I want to show us that this is another way we can calculate our measures. So here you click the drop down and you select new measure. Then this comes out. Here in the measure name, we want to find out the total number of customers. So here I can type in total customers or total number of customers, whatever. But I just like to keep the name short. So here description, the name is enough description for me. So inside here, I'm going to put in my formula, which starts with equality sign, equals to. So there I can now go and type the function, type distinct. You see this comes out distinct count. Distinct count means count what, if you see something, if you see repeated number, don't just skip it, count it as 1. Distinct count. So I'm going to double click here. Then what do we want to know? Remember, we want to know the number of, we want to know our customers. How many customers patronize us? So I'm going to put X here under sales and looking at the customer ID. And that's why we are using distinct count. If a customer bought from us repeatedly, count it as 1. If you see that customer ID repeatedly, count it as 1. So here we are going to double click this. That becomes our measure formula, close the brackets. Now, if you want to know if this formula is correct, you can go to check formula. When you click on it, it shows you no errors. That means the formula we entered is correct, no errors, and then we click OK. So once that is done, we can get back to our data modeling, and then we see our total customers. You see it here, 100, which is the total number of our customers. But you see it came here, it brought it on top here. Now you can now come down to this to have another measure. Let's say we want to know the total quantity. We want to know the total quantity sold. Here we can use our I can write it here. I can write it here. The total quantity sold, I can come here and say equals to sum. Again, because we are looking for total quantity. Sorry, I mistakenly pressed this. So we are double click this sum. What are we looking at in sales and is quantity? All right, and hit enter. It gives me the total quantity sold, and then we can as well come over to this place, remove the measures, and then come over and type total quantity. All right, that's we hit enter. That becomes our fourth measure. Now you can get other insights as much as possible. We have talked about how do we call it now? We have talked about the analysis, total cost, measures on this. We can also decide to get percentage profit. We can also decide to get percentage profit. Now here, if you want to add, you can come here and say percentage profit, or what you can call profit margin, or percentage profit margin. All right, hit enter. Of course, for us to calculate percentage profit, we know that is equals to profit divided by total cost. Profit divided by total cost. So here, if we come over, this is profit divided by total cost. That is our percentage profits. Profit divided by total costs. Yes, that's the formula to calculate percentage profit. That's the formula to calculate the percentage profit. Profit divided by total cost, percentage profit. We hit enter. So automatically we have this. So if we come to this, we can select the percentage format, apply it, the percentage, it gives it in percentage. So we have our profit percentage margin, profit percentage. So that percentage profit rather, that becomes another column we have added to our sales data set. Then there are other analysis you can do to do. However, when we now want to insert a pivot table, from here we can insert pivot table straight. We can insert pivot table straight. Here we can click on pivot table. Another way we can do that, which I don't do, is going back to our data model, and then going back to our data set rather, come to insert and come here to pivot table, and then say from data model, not from table range, from data model. But what I do is I do that straight from my Power Pivot. I do that straight from my Power Pivot, come here, select pivot table. So once that is done, is a new worksheet, which is okay by me, and then I say okay. Now it brings us into this. We see this, the pivot table. However, our fields, we are not seeing it. So what do? We go to pivot table, analyze, and come to activate the field list. We click on this, it comes up. Now you can now see that all the 5 tables appears because they are now related. We have now formed a model. All the 5 tables appears. The one of table 2, which I think that's the one we have, this, all the 5 tables appear. This one, we deleted the 4. So if we have run our analysis properly, they all appear here. Now we see the customer table, we see the date, we see the product, we see the region, we see the sales, and then we see these tables. All right. Now, from there, we can begin to pull some insights. We can pull some insights to this. If you are still with me, ensure you hit the like button on this live section. Also, remember to click. Also, remember to share. And if you haven't subscribed yet, endeavor to do that. Endeavor to do that. Endeavor to do that. All right. And this is part of data analysis scholarship program for cohort 1. We are rounded up. In the next class, which will be on Sunday, we are going to be doing a capstone project. We are going to start it from scratch and finish it up to visualization, dashboards, and all that. Okay. Now, having done that, we are going to get some insights. Let's take, for example, we get to products. Under products, we bring the product name. We bring the product name. We want to know how much sales we made from the number of products, how much we made from each product. We can go to sales. Where is my sales table? So here I can select different tables. Here is my sales. Go to sales table, and then here look for my quantity. Let's say I want to know the number of products each of them we sold. We have this. So this is sum. It's giving me sum. So that's not what I want. I will come to this drop down arrow here, click, go to value of fields, and then say count. I want it to count based on quantity. Count it and then give me the actual quantity. So that is what we have. So in that case, it's showing us that here I can right click and then sort from smallest to largest or from largest to smallest. So from here, it shows us that laptop is sold highest. The quantity of laptop is sold highest, followed by phone, followed by monitor, tablet, and then printer. The list is headphone. The list is headphones, and that is one insight we can get. Also, if we want to also know, okay, let's know the profit generated from each of these products. We want to know the profit generated from each of these products. We can come down here and total profit generated from each of these products. You see this measure which we created, this total profit measure we created. We click on it and put it down here. It will show us total profit generated from each of these items, each of these products, this one. So we might want to say, okay, let's know the one that gives us the highest profit. We sort from largest to smallest. Here we discover that even though laptop is sold the highest, but in profit making, phone gives more profit. And then monitor follows. In terms of number of sales, laptop is stopping. But in terms of what is bringing profit to us, we are not selling it with enough profit. But the thing is going. The phones, which is second to the highest, is the one we are making much more profit. The smartwatch here, which is also high, is less in profit. The headphone, which is the least number sold, is higher in profit today. So from this is giving us more insights. It's giving us kind of more insights into our analysis, into our data set, using the pivot table, analyzing it, and what have you. All right, the next we can also do is we can go to our Power Pivot. In our Power Pivot, we can establish some KPIs. We can establish some KPIs, key performance indicators. We can put in some KPIs, key performance indicators, coming to coming to this place and say new KPI. Now this comes up. What are we looking at? What is in the KPI we are looking at for? We click on this. Our KPI is based on total profit. We select. Here we are going to click the absolute value. We are going to click on the absolute value. Here we are going to look at create a target for each product, that each product should be giving us a kind of profit, range of profit each product should be giving us. Let's say the target, let's say the target is, okay, let's say the target is 30,000. Let's say we have a target of 30,000. So that is 30,000. Then that is our target. Now let's should we increase it to 40? Thereabouts. We are getting closer to wrap up this section. Should we increase it to 30, to 40 rather? Okay, let's leave it at 30. Here, if we can increase this to 20, so any revenue, any profit less than 20 will be flagged red. So let's move this to make it 30. So the one, any profit above 30 is green. The one between 20 and 30 is warning or yellow icon. You can select this, you can select this, any of them. Let's say I use this indicator. This is an icon indicator and all that, and then I say okay. Now we have added KPIs to this, and when you look at this, you see 111000 and all that. That is because we did some kind of sorting. Why? So that is because we did some kind of sorting. So let me sort with this one, larger to smallest. So we see D is interchange and stuff like that. Okay. Now, to bring in those icons, because we want the icons to display not 1, 2, 3 or 1, 0, -1. So we can go back to this place, locate that our total profit. This is our total profit, which is what we are using to assign our KPIs, as we can see it here. So what do? We remove this. We uncheck this. Once we uncheck it, we return it back. So once we return it back, you see that automatically we have the ones. This one is less than 20. It shows this. This is less than 30. It gives us warning. And these ones are above 30,000. That means we are making the right profit we want on those kind of products. Then this product, what are we going to do? This one will require a little push in order to reach the target. And this one, we are far from it. What do we need to do? We have said the number of sales is going up, but profit is not really going. What do? Are we going to increase the profit margin, or we target to sell more of our smartwatch? That way we have been able to assign some, we have been able to assign KPIs to our, data. Now let's take, for example, now we want to visualize it. We come to pivot table analyze, we go to pivot chart. Here we have this chart, or we want it to be in pie chart, which either way we can use maybe this 3D pie chart. You say okay, and we have our pie chart in this format. Normally I like removing this, and then this is what we have here, and on this particular stuff, I don't need this quantity, I need it in terms of profit, so I will remove this count of products. I will just remove it away, so we are left with only profit. Here I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to click on this, right click, sort it from largest to smallest. So you see that our chart starts from largest. The largest is phone in terms of profit, followed by monitor. As we can see it here, smartwatch is the least of this. That's what our pie chart is showing. So this becomes our visuals. And next step, for example, we also want to see this, our data. We want to sort it. We want to sort it out. We want to check or do whatever, any other thing. We can insert a slicer. We are still getting to that. Later we can insert a slicer. In this slicer, we see the product category, product name. We also see sales, and all that. If we want to bring all this, we come here and select all. Now let's say we want to sort by gender, to know the gender that is giving us much profit on this particular. To know the gender, the profit, we need to know based on gender, which gender on which profit. We can select this and then say okay, or we select the customer names. The customers are 100, so it will be high. So let me use gender. So once that is done, we can see that we have our slicer. Okay, now if we want to know based on this, let's say we want to know how much profit we generated from our mail customers, we select mail. Now you see from our mail customers, phone is still giving us the highest profit. Phone is still giving us the highest profit. Here is 63,300. Phone is still the highest. We want to look at female. We click on female. Female, phone is still the highest, but profit generated from female is less than the one generated from male. So in gender, we can look at what makes male to buy more, so that we can focus. We can also look at getting the male guys to buy more. Maybe it might be that they don't negotiate too far, they don't negotiate really well. When you give them price, they buy, not truly negotiating. The female, they buy, but they negotiate, or that male have more buying power. Also, we look at what factors are that enhances or makes the male to buy more than female. If it's what we can leverage on, that's where you begin to talk about your regression analysis, multiple regression analysis, and building a model on it, and that, and so on and so forth. So with this, we can get more insight. So if we want to bring all of them, we remove the filter, and both of them, we are looking at our profit from customers, both male and female. Also, you can also decide to add another. You can add another slicer if you want. You can add another slicer. You can go to slicer settings. We are going to be talking a bit more when we are looking at main projects. So here you can pivot table analyze. Where is it? Yeah, see it here, insert slicers. So if this is not okay, you can insert slicer based on region or based on the product name, which we already have a product name here. You can look at it based on this, any of this, the customer name. You can go into that. You can look at based on product name. We have it here, product category. Okay, let's say we want to sort based on or filter or based on product category. We say okay. Now we have our slicers. based on product category. From what we have here, we know we see accessories and we see electronics. These are categories we have. Electronics, we are having more profit from there. Accessories, we are not selling much of accessories. So that might make the management to see, okay, what do we do? Do we close down our accessories, or do we intensify effort to see that we sell more of accessories, while we also improve on making more sales on electronics? So with that, it gives us further insights as regards to our data set, so that we can make informed decisions. Our decisions will be on our decision will be on data, not on will be on data, not really on hearsay or what do we call it, on just emotions. No, we make decisions based on data. So that way, we have our data sets. So here we can also remove this to have all we have here. So we have done this and get some insights. Okay, let's go to our pivot table and see other insights, other measures, other DAX that we can work with. We are learning something powerful this morning. We are getting something powerful today. Please ensure you do that. All right, before we wrap up tonight, before we wrap up this section this morning, let me establish this. Our assignment, our project assignment is to perform a data model. Get 4 tables. You are going to work with 5 tables. Like I did, you have sales table, product table, region, date, and customers. Generate your own data sets. Generate your own data sets, and then perform a relationship like we did here. When you generate your own data set, ensure you clean it so that you don't experience the challenge I experienced, having a blank row or a blank column which I didn't know. So ensure you take it through Power Query, clean it, everything becomes clean, then load it into your Excel, add it to your Power Pivot, add it to model, and come and link it together. When you perform linking together, then you do analysis, add your total cost, profit margin, and other necessary you can add, get your total customer, total revenue, total profit, total quantity sold. You can also calculate the average profit. You can also calculate your average profit. You can also calculate average profit. You can also calculate average sales per customer. You can also calculate average order quantity per transactions and all that. You can calculate them, and then, but those ones, just do this for ones we have. In our next session, I'm going to take us more in-depthly into DAX while we are building our real life project. All right, let's see if we can do one more stuff. Let's see if we can do one more stuff. Average, let's look at average revenue per customer. Let's see how we can do that quickly. We can say equals to, now here what's our how do we calculate our average? How do we calculate our average? We can use a function. Let's say we use a function here. Let me use that. There are different ways we can do that. We put divide, double click here. Divide. Now what's the numerator? What is in the numerator? The numerator will be the total sales. What's the numerator? The numerator will be the total sales. Average sales per customer. The total sales divided by the total number of customers. That's what we have. Average sales will be this. This is our total sales, or the total sales. That's what we have here. We click on this. We click on this. That becomes our total sales. So with that, we say comma, and then our total customer, we click on this. That is just that. Then we put comma, alternate results, no, give me exact. We put 0, then close the bracket, and then we hit enter. That gives us average sales per customer, average sales or average revenue per customer. So here you can come here to rename it, call it average revenue per customer. You can also, in that regard, calculate your average order value. Average order value, you can also calculate that average order value. You can also calculate your quantity per transaction. You can also do that in quantity per transaction. That's average quantity per transaction. You can also do that. So to calculate that, we can come down to this place, equals type average. Let's use the average function. When you double click, what are we calculating here? Average sales per transaction. We are going to be using quantity. Average sales per transaction. So we type sales and then go to our quantity here and then hit enter. So this is also another measure per transaction. In this, we are having an average sale of 3 quantity per sale. In each sales we are having in each sales. Let's remove this because we don't have. So in each sales, based on all these sales, we are averaging 3 units. 3 units or 3 quantity for each sale. Per sale, we are averaging 3 per each sale. These are sales. This is a sale, this. So when we average it, we are averaging 3 per sales. So that's what you can call it average sales, average quantity, average quantity or average units per sales. So that different measures you can add. You can also go ahead to look at if you want to get to do some filter. If you want to get to do some filter, let's say we want to calculate the sales we made or the revenue or sales revenue we generated from, let's say, the northern region or the eastern region or the southern region. We can use this. We can use this as well. Come here and say equals. We use calculate. Now on calculate, we double click. What are we calculating? What is the expression? We are calculating the total revenue. This. We are calculating this. We select. When we select it, what are we looking at? We say comma. What are we getting? That select total sales from so region. So I put X here. It will take me to sales. And what do I need? I need the region ID. Now I double click here. Now if that region equals, I open double quotation. Let's say we want to get for region arrow 002. Let's say 002 is south or east, I can't remember, but you see their codes here. We have 003, 002, 001, and then we close it, and then close our bracket. There we are using some if, like in Excel where you say some total revenue of this if is from the north, or filter this if is this. So that is what we are doing here. But in Power Pivot, we make use of calculate, and then in this format, we hit enter. So it gives us a measure. This is revenue generated from the region with this ID 002. So to find the region that has that's southern region. So that's revenue generated from the south. So we have been able to put that in here. If you want to get only all the revenue generated from south, the same way if you want to know the profit, you will replace total revenue with the total profit. It gives you the profit generated. Also, if you want to know the total profit generated from the female customers, that way you do that as well. Let's quickly run that. We say equals calculate, double click this. Now what are we looking for? We are looking for profit generated from female customers. We click on this. My mouse is somehow misbehaving. We click on this and then double comma. What are we looking for? We are looking for sales but profit. We are looking for sales but here profit, and then who are we looking for? We are looking for our customers and gender. So it's not okay. We are looking for customers. So we look at customers and gender. So we type C. In that regards, let's look for it. Here is it, customer gender. So double click here. It brings us to that aspect, customer gender equals. We open this and put F, close it, and then close our bracket and hit enter. Now it gives us the total profit generated from the female gender on our customer base. So these are different stuffs we can do. We can also calculate based on the time series. Based on time series, if you want to know the total revenue generated for the year. For the year from, we want to calculate from this year 2020, from January to this current date, to this current date, 1st of October, how much have we generated? We want to know how much have we generated in revenue. In revenue, this is 2025. From the current date till now, how much have we generated? If we have 2024 and all that. So to do that, we are making use of this function. You say equals to, you type total. Now this total will come up, you make use of YTD. That's year total generated. So you make use of YTD, this. Double click on this. Now once you double click on it, what expression? We want to know the total revenue. We want to know the total revenue based on the particular date. So we click on this is our total revenue. So once you do that, you say comma, and then you type this inverted comma or apostrophe. So once it brings up this option shows up, you select this date and this date and date. Once you double click on it, then you close your parentheses and then hit enter. It shows you the total revenue, which is the same with what we have here. If we format it in currency, you will see is the same because the dates here are 2025. From January 2025, it shows this. However, if on your own you change a particular date in your data set, now let's go and do that. Let's say here in this sales, let's say this particular sale in 2025, let me make it 2024. Let me put it 2024. So it's outside this current date. It's outside this current date, 2024. And let me save it, Control S to save. Then let's go back to our stuff. Now you will notice that what we have is this. Let's refresh on. Let's refresh on everything. We refresh All right, everything is valid. And then now, as you can see, as we refreshed, this one is 2024 and we have 500 in it, total sales of 500. You see that because based okay, let me know where you stop hearing me. So we can calculate this for total month. We can calculate this for total month, how much we generated this month. So you click on this. Let's take example, we want to check how much profit have we generated from this month. So you click on total, you type total, you select total MTD and then comma. Now once you do that, the next is you put this apostrophe and then you select this as well. So once that is done, close your parentheses and hit enter. Control Z. I did something wrong, but you understand what happened here. Here you see it blank. Why? Because we are in a new month, which is October, and in this data set it doesn't have data up to October, so that's why it's blank. Nothing, we haven't made anything in this particular month. So there are different DAX we can operate with, but due to our time is our time is already fast spent, and is on this note we will be wrapping up this section today. Next for our session is on Sunday, where we are going to be building a capstone project from scratch. We are going to be building a capstone project from scratch. And it's on this note that we want to say a very big thank you to all of us that made it available to this morning session. Also, in our a means of calculating, a means of having our attendance, your name and your scholarship ID, that will be much appreciated. Thank you, and do enjoy your day. And once again, happy new month and happy independence to every Nigerian. Happy independence, happy new month. Thank you, and see you guys on Sunday. We are going to be building real life projects and some amazing projects we will be building from scratch to finish. We will be here by God's grace on Sunday to do justice to that as well. See you all on Sunday. Do enjoy your rest of the day. Once again, happy independence.